WNBC and NBC News contributing correspondent, and he joins me now. Jonathan, what do we know about where police are on this case with a suspect who is at large at this moment?
So what they're trying to determine is the gunman on that train the same man who drove that U-Haul from Philadelphia to New York yesterday, and it was parked overnight near about 5 miles from where the shooting happened. And is that person the same person? So they know the person who rented the U-Haul is Frank R. James, the photo you saw there a moment ago, and that he rented that and drove to Brooklyn. They are now at the scene of the shooting in that bag that had all the contents, that had the smoke grenades, that had the extra ammo, that had the fireworks. Also found inside that bag, police say, was the key to the U-Haul van. So they believe the shooter had access, or for some reason has a connection to the van that was rented. That is in part why they believe, they suspect it's one and the same person. Can they prove it? No, they can't. That's why they want to find this person of interest and see if he is connected to the shooting, involved in the shooting. Right now, that's the operating theory, but again, they don't have it yet, so they are referring to him as a person of interest.
So they were able to recover keys to a U-Haul van off of that train. It was along with a bag of fireworks and these other smoke canisters. Those keys work in a U-Haul, and they know the individual that rented that U-Haul, who is the person of interest as of now. That's the connection so far as we know it.
That is correct. And they've been able to track that U-Haul using license plate reader records all the way up the New Jersey Turnpike across the Verrazano Bridge. So they know the exact tick-tock and path that van took, who rented it. There's video surveillance of where that van was parked overnight and into this morning. And that video shows a person getting out of that van that appears to match the description of the person who carried out the shooting. So this van is parked near a subway station that is 8 stops from where the shooting happened. And investigators believe the person of that van this morning got on the subway at that first stop. Gotcha. And then 8 stops later, the shooting happened. Is that the man who fired the shots, or are there 2 different people involved? To be determined. Right now, they believe there's a lone actor and 1 person responsible.
I want to play something that the commissioner said, Commissioner Sewell, about some preliminary information and possible a little concerns about the mayor's safety. Of course, the mayor, Eric Adams, quarantining in Gracie Mansion. He has COVID. He one of the 60-plus people, I think, that got it from the Gridiron Dinner. This is what the NYPD commissioner had to say. Take a listen.
So based on some preliminary information, there are some postings possibly connected to our person of interest where he mentions homelessness, he mentions New York, and he does mention Mayor Adams. And as a result of that, in an abundance of caution, we're going to tighten the mayor's security detail.
I'm not sure quite what to make of that. What do you make of it?
Well, on Frank James' YouTube channel that he has apparently posted, and there's video of a man speaking that appears to be Mr. James, he allegedly makes some general comments about the state of New York City, about the job Mayor Adams is doing, about the state of the subways. So because that person, Mr. James, is on video making such general statements, as a precaution, if Mr. James is linked to this shooting, they are going to beef up security around the mayor. A little bit more about Mr. James' background. He lives in the Philadelphia, Pennsylvania area with past addresses in Wisconsin. In both those states, he has a criminal history, we are told from law enforcement sources, of making terroristic threats. It's been explained to us that those threats were emotionally disturbed person type threats, not the traditional terrorist attack threats. But nonetheless, it perhaps gives you a glimpse into the background of the man who they believe rented the U-Haul. Again, are they saying he is the shooting suspect at this time? They are not. What they're saying is they're looking into whether the man who drove the U-Haul is the same person who carried out the shooting. Until they find him, until they question him, until the fingerprints come back from the bag and all the items that were recovered at the scene, we're told a cell phone was also recovered. Until they get through all of that, that's when, until they find him, that's when they'll be able to determine if he is connected to the shooting.
One more question for you, just while I have you here. Do we know the gun? It seems like a big deal. The gun was apparently left there, or one of the guns. We don't know if it's definitive. Have they been able to trace that? Do they have any info on that? That seems like an enormous piece of evidence, obviously.
Yes, they have the gun, and they believe 33 shots were fired inside that subway car. 33 shots, and the gun jammed. And he had 2 extra clips, apparently, in the bag, ready to go, along with gasoline, we're told, so that if he used the gasoline on those fireworks and on those smoke canisters, you can only imagine, as smoky as you saw the situation in that car, how much worse this could have been. So, yes, the ATF right now, the FBI, Homeland Security investigations, all helping the NYPD, tracking the weapons, tracking the evidence. Where did he get all these items? No indication it's a stolen or ghost gun at this time. We're told it's a Glock 9mm with numerous clips, and again, 33 shots fired. In addition to the smoke grenades going off inside that one subway car.
All right, Jonathan Dienst, one of the finest reporters we have in this city. Thank you so much for making some time for us tonight. I truly appreciate it.